Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Yet Another Movie Podcast, the movie podcast where we talk about anything and everything we want, because it's our podcast. I am Shane Wallach, and I'm with...
That's true. Sean Higgins.
No, I did. I just want to assert our authority over film, right? No, it's just...
Our opinion matters and not yours.
The funny thing is, this is such an informal podcast. We made such a big point of that, so...
That's why it's funny.
Today we got a little... special episode for you. As you've probably noticed, our format's getting a little bit shorter. I feel like I'm going to be less restrictive to the week-by-week format and just get them up when we do them, when we want. So it'll be a little bit more informal, and you'll be a little shorter podcast, but you'll get a few more of them, because we have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's awards season, right, Sean?
Yeah!
Welcome to awards season, yes. This is the time of year where every studio who wants a shiny gold statue releases their movie in the same 5-week period, and Sean and I have to live at the movie theater, basically, for a month.
Well, that is why they released Justice League around this time, of course.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Justice League is up for every trophy.
Duh.
Including...
Why would you even question that?
Including Best Documentary Feature.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's actually happened.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to discontinue this joke before it gets even worse.
Yeah, good idea.
We're talking about Murder of the Orient Express, so great transition, right? So I've read the book. Sean is not.
I'm not, no.
We're not going to bring the book into it because of that too much. I'll just say it's a great book. Read it. We're going to be really talking about the movies here. The movies are pretty close to the storyline of the book. I'm not going to say there's not that many huge differences. So you get a good adaptation on at least on the 1974. We can talk about a few of the changes in the new one, but we'll be talking about the original 1974 film, and we're going to talk about the remake that just came out this week. So first off,
that no one saw, apparently.
No, actually, it did pretty well.
Oh, is it?
It actually
okay.
surprisingly did well. Even though it came in third place, like 28 million.
Okay.
Which is exceeding expectations. So.
I've just heard no one talk about it, so that's why I thought.
Oh, I've actually looked at the numbers. I figure you would have, but...
Okay, I missed it then. Okay, well, that's good to know.
No, but anyway. Starting out, I'll just say I came to the original. I watched it probably 6 years ago. It's been a while. I watched it right after I read the book, because I heard that there was this big movie based on the book. And I watched it then, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I was excited that the new one was coming out, because at least I'd have an opportunity to watch the original again. And Sean...
I had never seen this movie before. I had heard of it. It was on my list of, movies from the 70s to get to, eventually. This gave me a great chance to do it. I do know who Cindy Lumet is. Lumet. I always say his name wrong, but I do know who he is. Case in point, I love 12 Angry Men and Network. Two movies I showed you. Seen. Oh, I watched 12 Angry Men on my own. That's not true.
I highly recommended you watch 12 Angry Men.
Okay, but I would have watched that anyways.
Sure.
And Network. Anyway. But yes, the point is, I do know.
Yeah, so
I've seen these movies.
We can talk about Cindy Lumet a little bit. Well, first of all, I'll just say a little bit about the novel. It was published in 1934 by Agatha Christie, who's a really well-known mystery writer. She's pretty prolific, and a lot of her storylines are adapted into a lot of fiction. Even loosely based. Everyone knows the story of Then and Then There Were None. Which has been adapted probably into 5 or 6. At least 5 or 6 movies and several TV shows, I'm sure, have taken from it. But it's a great story, and I definitely recommend people read that one as well. But this one is part of the series of Hercule Poirot, who is considered the world's greatest detective. Kind of like a Sherlock Holmes type character, but he's a lot more kind of bombastic and silly in his own way, which is nice. Because so he kind of differentiates himself from Sherlock Holmes a little bit. But if you like Sherlock Holmes, you're going to like Hercule Poirot. I think you'd agree with that?
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely does have that Sherlock Holmes vibe, witty sense of humor and just very intelligent, and you can just see in his eyes his brain is always working. Well, I'm talking films. Obviously about the films. Duh.
No,
but
we can stake
you get that sense
here.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's the context. This is actually, I think, the 3rd or 4th novel in the series. I cannot remember. I think it might be the 4th.
Okay.
But it was the most popular. So, just like Da Vinci Code, they're like, oh, we're just going to adapt that one first, even though it's not the first.
Sure.
Continuity be damned when the studio wants to take what's most popular.
Hollywood will do what they want, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. No, but okay, so then the 1974 film, it was directed by Sidney Lumet. We talk a little bit about him now. I'm sure he's going to come up again. First of all, He will definitely come up again. But like you said, my favorite black and white film he directed, 12 Angry Men. Absolutely astounding, great movie. Everyone should see it. I hope you agree with that.
Of course I agree with that.
Yeah, so, and he also did stuff like Dog Day Afternoon, which you still need to see, right?
I still need to see that. The other one I really want to see is Before the Devil Knows You're Dead with Philip Seymour Hoffman. That one sounds really interesting. There's a couple others.
That's his last film. So
it is. I've just heard a lot of good things about that one. So.
Okay. Yes. Well, other things that people might know, he did Network. He did Serpico, which is so all 70s movies. He was pretty active during the 70s. He also did a movie called Child's Play, which me and Sean make fun of all the time.
It has no connection to
We should actually get around to watching Child's Play. I haven't seen it. So.
I think it'd be hilarious if we did the Child's Play series, but we start off with that movie.
With Sidney Lumet's Child's Play.
And do the podcast.
That'd be funny. Let's do it.
That'd be amazing.
All right, it's a plan now.
All right. I knew I'd get the Chucky movies in somehow, damn it.
So those are the biggest films he's done. I think he has a fantastic knowledge of how to handle an ensemble cast. We see that in 12 Angry Men. We see that here in Murder in the Orient Express. It's tough to handle a lot of characters and to know who all these people are.
Yeah, and in both cases, he juggles them well. And you never feel like there's not a character that's kind of left on the wayside. A lot of times that happens where you're like, this character has nothing to do. Why are they even here?
Yeah.
That never happens in either of those films.
Yeah, absolutely. So he adapted the novel. And why don't we just dive in and talk about what we thought? So, Sean, first time seeing it, what'd you think?
I really dug it. We're not going to go into spoilers, so I won't say what it is, but I did not know how this would end.
The only thing we're going to do is maybe talk about a few of the differes in general between the two adaptations.
But as far as where the mystery goes,
we're definitely not going to unveil
the answer
twist.
We will not unveil. But I didn't know what it was, and I was happy that was not spoiled for me, because then I was like able to really try and figure it out, and it really engaged me into figuring it out. And I love it when a mystery movie can do that. So well, where my brain's going, okay, this information, like, okay, who could it be? Like, what makes sense? And yeah, I loved Albert Finney as I cannot say this guy's name. You said it.
Hercule Poirot.
Hercule Poirot. Okay. He is phenomenal.
Well, I was going to say, I was going to get into performances when we get into more specific.
Oh, okay, sorry. General thoughts are, I really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, me too. I think this is a fantastic mystery film. It captures the novel very well. It keeps you guessing. It doesn't fall into too many cliches. And it's just a lot of fun to see Hercule figure out the mystery. Because he has a great, over-the-top, bombastic way of doing it. So it's a lot of fun to watch him figure stuff out. You can see it in his eyes. And we'll get into that when we talk about acting. So I guess why don't we just start talking about acting? So you brought up Albert Finney. Yeah,
Albert Finney as Hercule Poirot. He is fantastic. Like you said, and I alluded to earlier, you can see it just for every movement, every moment in the film. You can see his brain is just working on the inside, like just
Absolutely.
trying to put everything together. I love his sarcastic wit. It's just right on par. Like, he'll have these great comebacks to people, and they're just like, he knows they're BSing him and stuff, so he's just kind of like, okay, dismissive, sarcastic comments that are both funny and very telling about his character. Like, oh, okay, he definitely knows more than he lets on.
Yeah, he's fantastically over the top, but not to like a silly level. He's just a very fun character. It's a lot of fun just to see him figure out the mystery. Albert Finney plays him in this sort of in this way where he retains that seriousness of a detective, and yet he has this level of just like he's such a genius where he's like almost above everyone else. Right? He's on another level, which is really cool. I really like how he played it. And he does separate it enough from characters like Sherlock Holmes, where he feels like his own distinct character and someone you just love to see on screen. You know, you're following him the whole time throughout the whole mystery, and this movie kind of keeps you in the dark at what Hercule is thinking. But we know that he's figuring something out. We can see it in his eyes. You know, Albert Finney, he shows you with his acting, a lot of physical acting going on with him, that he has some theories that he's working through. And every question I love the moment when he's like, one of the characters is like, why didn't you ask him this? And he's like, because I didn't have to. Mm-hmm. Because he doesn't. He already has it figured out. Unnecessary information. Everyone else around him is not completely just...
Yeah, they're like 10 steps behind him.
Correct.
And it's very obvious, and it's a lot of fun watching that.
Yeah, it's a great performance. I really think Albert Finney's a very talented guy. He was also in Aaron Brockovich, which we saw recently. And I pointed out we were watching Aaron Brockovich. I'm like, hey, he's in Murder in the Orient Express. We should watch that. He's really good in it. So, yeah, he's a very talented actor. Yeah, and he was nominated for an Academy Award. I think this film was nominated for like 6 Academy Awards, something like that.
Wow.
Like screenplay, cinematography. Only one person won. So, talking about acting, Ingrid Bergman won Best Supporting Actress. We're going to talk about her performance here. So there's the performances that are over the top. There are performances that are crazy. There are also performances that are subtle. Why don't you talk about a little bit about that, Sean, with Ingrid Bergman's performance?
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely see why she won, because her performance is so subtle, like you said. It's just, you know, she plays this character she's this God-fearing woman, and she's just kind of on this train, caught up in all the mess. And she, just the way she interacts with everyone, you know, it's very, it's unsuspecting, which is great, but you still kind of wonder because you're suspecting everyone, but you're kind of like putting her under, oh, okay, she's like, you're not sure what to think of her.
Well,
really,
she has this almost hint of guilt.
Yeah.
So, which makes her almost suspicious, because it's like, the way she's playing this, she's looking down a lot. She seems very nervous throughout the movie, and it's very different than I'm used to Ingrid Bergman being from Casablanca and Notorious, where she's a very headstrong woman. Here, she's very subtle, and she's very she's not confident, And it's a subtle, but it's a nuanced performance, but it's got a lot to it, and I do appreciate that she won, because she was one of the more interesting characters in the cast, that she had a lot of depth to it. And I love that the interrogation scene with Hercule and her is fascinating, just because her story is interesting, and the way she tells it is very it brings you in.
Yeah.
Yes, sure. The acting all around is great, though. We should also mention Sean Connery's in this movie. Yeah. He plays this over the top army guy, and he's just kind of funny, the role, to be honest, because he charges in once when Hercule's interrogating a woman, we'll just say, to avoid spoilers, and he plays Sean Connery pretty well.
Oh yeah, it's still that James Bond kind of charm, but not quite. It's kind of toned down a little, but it's still there a little bit. This was, I believe, a couple years after he retired the James Bond character, until of course he comes back once in the 80s. And then of course Anthony Perkins is in this movie, and I know him like everyone else from Psycho as Norman Bates.
Yeah. And
his character was a lot of fun in a meta kind of way, because his character starts talking about, he's a very awkward character. He seems really suspicious because he's shaky. He's oh yeah, no, I had nothing to do with this. He's very just creepy in that way, and that's a lot like Norman Bates. And then he even starts talking about his mother and his relationship to his mother.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know if this was intentional, but part of me thinks it was. Is this the first, it wouldn't be called this, but meta film ever? Because I did kind of enjoy that. And then they even have a reference to 12 Angry Men, very subtle kind of reference. I don't know. It was kind of fun, wasn't it?
It was like a wink at the camera a little bit for people who might know Sidney Lumet's other work. Yeah. So we theorize that there might be.
I don't know if that's for sure, but it did feel like that a little bit, that was intentional. But Anthony Perkins was quite good in this. It makes me want to check out some of his other non-Norman Bates roles, because it's the only thing I know him from, and I feel kind of bad about that, because he is a really good actor.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah.
And overall, I really like how Sidney Lumet is able to handle shooting a whole movie basically inside of a train. It's very confined quarters, but he's able to do it pretty well. We can always tell what's going on, and it's blocked very well. I love the scene at the end when Hercule, again, spoiler free, but he's unraveling the mystery, and the characters are around him, and he's going to identify the killer. And it's kind of a suspenseful scene because they're all standing there, but it's shot very well, so it feels
it
natural.
never feels too claustrophobic.
Except when it needs to. Because when you're in the cabins, I think it does feel claustrophobic.
It should feel claustrophobic there. But, like, I guess, I mean, like, in the wider train part or anything like that, it feels awkward.
It feels natural.
Which is great. I guess, are we wrapping this up, or do you have more to say?
Because overall, it's just a very, very good mystery movie. If you like mystery movies, I definitely recommend this.
Yeah, I say go in not looking up anything and just enjoy the movie. And even if you've heard the ending, check it out anyways, because it's a really fun movie. It's a great mystery film. Yeah, it gets your brain working.
You'll enjoy quite a bit. So,
definitely. It holds up very well over 40 years later. Absolutely. It's a shame it's not on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Can I just call that out?
It needs to be released, especially now.
Hell?
Why aren't
How
they
is
releasing
I
it?
know.
We'll see. But, so then, they decided to remake it.
Because everything needs to be remade.
Hollywood. We should do a podcast on remakes, man.
I know.
We should do that.
Nowadays, they're just forgotten so quickly.
Okay. So, well, let's be fair. So Kenneth Branagh directed this latest version.
Yep.
I like Kenneth Branagh. I'll say right up front. I think he's not only a good actor, but he's a good director. His direction was one of the only things I liked from Cinderella.
I agree with that.
I think he did a decent job with Thor. It could have been better, but I think there's a lot of script problems there. And Hamlet is a fantastic film.
I still need to see Hamlet.
I think it's his magnum opus. I think it's, still his greatest film.
Okay.
And it's probably one of the best Shakespearean adaptations. We should probably just do a Shakespeare special. That'd be a lot of fun.
That would be fun.
Because we could do, like, really stupid things like Romeo plus Juliet. and do also more of the serious adaptations.
Okay.
Too. Like, just do a straight-up Shakespeare marathon.
I almost want to be a dick and make you watch the Trauma version from they're basically schlocky version of Romeo and Juliet from the 80s.
Okay.
That'd be amazing.
I don't know about that. Anyway, yeah, so he's a talented guy. And the new cast, are a lot of names that we know, right? Starting out, Kenneth Branagh's playing Hercule Poirot. We'll talk about him. You got Daisy Ridley in there, Josh Gad, Judi Dench, Willem Dafoe, Johnny Depp. So, yeah, there's a lot of names.
Oh, yeah.
That you know, and they all do pretty.
Yeah, it's a stellar cast for sure. This is actually, I will say this without saying anything else about the movie. This is my favorite Josh Gad performance. That wasn't a high bar. I'm not a huge Josh Gad fan, but I legitimately thought he was really good in this movie. He didn't distract, which is good.
Yeah,
I mean, what am I comparing it to? Admittedly, I'm comparing it to Beauty and the Beast and
the
Wedding Ringer.
Wedding Ringer, yeah.
I guess Frozen.
Beauty and the Beast and
his voice
Pixels.
acting there. Oh fuck! I forgot he was in Pixels.
Yep.
I completely forgot about that.
I forgot about Pixels. So yeah, let's just dive in. Sean, what did you think of? By the way, we have barely talked about this until now.
Oh yeah, yep, that's true.
Sean, what do you think?
I thought it was fine.
Okay.
It was all right. It surprisingly wasn't terrible. It stayed pretty faithful to the book and to the original film for the most part. I'll get into some of the stuff that changed, but I thought it was all right.
Yeah, I thought it was a decent film. It hinges on two elements. The script is not one of those elements.
I agree with that.
But overall, it's an entertaining enough film. It's kind of like one of those movies where you kind of want to turn on and kind of fall asleep to it. I know it sounds like an insult.
No, I know what you mean, though.
But it's not an insult. It's just it's a comfortable movie. It's not as good as the original. There would never be a reason to watch this over the original.
No.
But it has some things going for it, which, if you don't mind, I'll just jump in and say what those things are. Number one is Kenneth Branagh's direction. Just the way the film looks, the camera kinetics are fantastic. There's a great oneer in the film where Hercule Poirot's character first enters the train. We get a nice view of the station, and then as he's walking through the train, it's all like one continuous shot. It looks pretty nice. There's also some CGI assisted, swooping around shots of the train that look pretty nice.
Yeah.
And the way he handles the inside of the train too, it's very colorful. It's got a nice color palette. It's some interesting camera work, like when there's those over the top of their head shots, where because the quarters are so tight, the camera's really above them, which is kind of cool. And I thought
it's
it all
definitely
worked.
a different way to shoot the scenes in the cabins, especially when you had the scene when they're find Johnny Depp's body and all that, and that was
which is not a spoiler, by the way.
That's not a spoiler at all.
It happens in the first
No.
20 minutes of the movie. So,
gosh,
we
know
should be
someone
clear.
gets murdered.
Yeah, it's a murder mystery. Johnny Depp's the one. So,
Yes.
I agree. I think the way he handled the camera work was great. And then the other thing is some of the performances are great. Now, personally, my favorite performance was Kenneth Branagh's. He brought a different type of Hercule, someone a little more graded, a little bit more. He seems a little bit more cynical than Albert Finney's. Albert Finney kind of operates out of, well, I got to do this because it's the right thing to do. Hercule's like, gosh darn it, I don't want to do this, but they're asking me to, so all right. And then when they bring up, well, somebody else is going to get in trouble if you don't solve someone innocent might get charged for a stupid reason. And he's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. I got to do it. So it's more an obligation. But at the same time, Kenneth Branagh embodies the character really well. He has the same sort of demeanor I expect for a Poirot performance. He has the right accent. He does a good job with the Belgian accent, and he does a good job with the mannerisms that make him feel like the same character, right? It doesn't feel stilted or awkward, or it actually transitioned pretty nicely from Finney's. Even though I prefer Finney's, it still it wasn't jarring for me. It still felt like Poirot. I don't know about you, but
yeah, no, it is. You're right. It's a different one, and you get a different vibe from his character, like you said. But I like that they changed something. I do appreciate that they didn't just try to say, "Oh, I'm gonna just copy what Albert Finney did, or copy what Sidney Lumet did."
yeah.
Because then I'd be annoyed by this movie. And I appreciate that we kind of get a different vibe of his character. We actually get to know him a little bit more because we see, it's the movie starts off, he's investigating this other crime, and we get to see a bit how he works there, which is nice.
Yep.
And then we learn a bit more about who he is as a person. Like, he can't, it's not that he's just really good at detecting. He just has a knack, this eye for seeing little details and noticing every little thing and memorizing everything. And he can't shut it off.
He's got a great brain. Yeah.
And you almost feel bad for him because the way he talks about it, he's like, yeah, it can get really annoying sometimes.
He makes it sound like a burden.
Yeah.
Because
which is interesting.
Even several times in this movie, he's leaned on because he said, people tell him, you're the only one who can solve this. And this is true for both movies, actually, that, you can see that this might wear on this character, this obligation to help.
Which I like that. I like that we got a little bit different layer of that kind of character.
Yeah. And as for the other performances, I thought they were all fine. I didn't have any
I mean,
problems.
they're all good actors and actresses in other roles, absolutely, and they're all good here. Like there's not a lot of standout, like, oh, this person was so amazing. But
yeah, I mean, I thought Kenneth Branagh was the best, and as for everyone else, they all serve their roles well. It's just there's no like Ingrid Bergman or like really stand out where you're like, yeah, they could win an Oscar. So
no, I mean, some of the, I guess, more memorable ones, I would say. I like Daisy Ridley in this. Michelle Pfeiffer, she's memorable in this.
Yeah.
Let's see, Johnny Depp, little we see him, he does make an impression. Not just because he's Johnny Depp, but because he actually is good in this.
Yeah, there are several that are good.
Yeah, like, like I mentioned, Josh Gad didn't annoy me for once, so there's that. That's a step up for him, honestly.
Yeah, let's get into like the problems we had. Because my major problem was with the script, I thought it just was worse than the original, which is just a problem when you're just comparing these two movies. Especially when we saw them so close together, it's just like, it's the same story, but just this one's just not told as well.
Yes.
Some characters' interrogations are thrown into montage when they really shouldn't have been. It's harder to tell them apart because of that. In the original, all of the interrogations are almost shown in full. There's not a lot of cutting. And that way we know who all these characters are. We know their backstories. We know how they relate to each other. We know their relationship to the Armstrong family, which you will know when you watch the movie, why that's significant. And that's all really important to get an understanding of the mystery, you know? I feel like if I didn't have the history from seeing the original movie and the book, I would have been a lot more lost in this new one because these characters would have blurred together.
I think I honestly would have too. It was harder for me to, in my brain, connect, okay, how are they connected again? Oh, that's right. And without going into spoilers, there's moments in both of these, they do the same scenes that are supposed to be very dramatic and like heartfelt and emotional for the characters. They did that excellent in the original. Mm-hmm. They tweaked it in this one, but it's to the point where you don't care as much.
Yeah.
Nearly as much.
It doesn't hit as hard.
Yeah, and it's disappointing because it's like, oh, they took that out. And this was jarring that this was in, and I know why it was in. I'm sure it was studio mandated. There are 2 action sequences. There's one chase sequence, and then there's a sequence where they I mean,
don't
it's
really
not
lead
even
anywhere. Too,
yeah, they don't lead anywhere.
They're not part of the plot. They're just kind of distractions.
Yeah, which again is why I'm pretty sure that's a studio thing. Just jumping in saying, "Oh, you need action for the stupid audience members."
We gotta get to the young people to come. So
yeah, which that was a shame because it's like, it's not necessary here. It's not the point.
And the way they handle some of the scenes, like we talked about with he unveils the mystery scene, it's a little more over the top and kind of silly in the new one than in the original, where it's a little bit more grounded and believable.
Right, they try to like over dramatize it. And it doesn't fit because it doesn't feel like an actual, like, I'm revealing this thing.
You lose the believability factor of it a little bit.
Yeah, which is a shame.
Yeah, but I don't want to harp on this movie too much because there are certainly worse remakes. It seemed like...
I mean, Flatliners remake. We just talked about one recently.
I mean, Kenneth Branagh obviously knew how to handle material. The screenplay wasn't a train wreck. The acting was fine. So, I mean, all the elements are fine, and I certainly would say, you know, if you are interested in this kind of movie, definitely go see it. It's not gonna disappoint you unless you're really attached to the original. But at the same time, you know, it's not gonna win any awards. It's not a fantastic film. It's got problems.
No,
specifically in the script department. But
one way I would put it is, after watching the original, I really wanted to check out some Agatha Christie. I still haven't had time, but I would love to. This wouldn't make me want to. This new one.
This wouldn't quite make you just want to pick up the novel right away and read it.
No, it wouldn't. It'd be like, oh, maybe I should check out that original to see if it's better.
Because the twist is the same, I'd actually recommend not experiencing the twist first in this movie. I actually recommend watching the original first.
I agree with that.
It will be a little bit more hard hitting, and it'll be more effective.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, overall though, it's fine. You know, it's definitely not going to end up on my worst list. It's not going to be on my best list.
Gosh,
it's going to be in the middle. There's room for movies in the middle. When we do our top and bottom lists at the end of the year, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say there are movies on this list. There are movies that are not on this list that I'm glad I saw. Just because a movie isn't on this list doesn't mean I'm not glad I saw it. And it's true. A lot of those movies in the middle that wind up just not being talked about, they're fine. They're just not going to be like the super memorable ones that you're going to write home about or tell your friends, hey, have you seen Murder on the Orient Express? You got to go see it.
No, yeah, this isn't one of those like, oh, yeah, put this on my top 10 favorite remakes of the 21st century list.
No, it's not going to happen. But with the original, yeah, I'm going to recommend this film. Continue to.
Absolutely. Definitely see the original. I can say that now.
Yeah, you can rent it on Amazon. That's what we did, and it's super easy. It's $4. And
rent it on Amazon, petition the studio to release the damn Blu-ray.
Exactly.
Whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I even told Sean, I'm like, you know, maybe we should just find an HD rip and burn it on Blu-ray.
I'm tempted at this point.
I think we should invest in that. That's probably a smart idea. Questionable legality, maybe, but
yeah, I mean, that's the only reason.
If the studio literally doesn't let us purchase it at all, what else are we supposed to do?
Right.
You know, as Blu-ray collectors.
There's like a few movies like that, like The Abyss and Dawn of the Dead, that I just honestly don't understand how that's not on Blu-ray.
I know, absolutely. All right, guys, thank you for listening to our thoughts. Let's give a little preview for what's coming up. So our plans are, first of all, apologies for the Halloween podcast getting up late. It's just the wear schedules were.
Yeah. Sorry,
we're still
college.
planning on doing Romero. We're gonna bump him back a little bit.
Yes, because we talked about Toby Hooper in our Texas Chainsaw. We George Romero died this year. I especially, both of us wanted to do something for Romero.
I think maybe in December or January we'll do like an in memoriam sort of special where we'll look maybe at some of the people who passed away this year.
We could do that too, honestly. There's been so many.
Yeah, there's been a few people who passed away this year we can look at. And we already did Toby Hooper, but it'd be fantastic to look at.
John Hurt, Bill Paxton, Harry Dean Stanton, to name a couple.
Look at some of these people and talk about them. So maybe we can work that in. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. Like, comment, subscribe if you feel like it. And we'll catch you guys next week. We're going to do probably a few episodes. So you'll get plenty then. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye.